Maybe humanity works really hard to diminish the resurrection because if Jesus has risen from the dead, then everything else he said is true. And then everything changes. One commentator wrote, denying the resurrection left everybody's worldview intact. The Jews could continue as they had done. The Romans could keep on going on, running on the world their way. Philosophers could still debate their lofty doctrines. Nobody would need to make a radical readjustment. But if the resurrection of Jesus is true, and if people were to start reordering their lives by it, they would be on a collision course with the rest of the world. Matthew knew it as well as we do. The resurrection, friends, is not neutral news. It's not a concept that's just theological that we can just go, okay, yeah, that's nice, and move away from. We are saying that this man died and was raised to life as the new king, or he was not. There's a new humanity, or there is not. This is not neutral news. We can trust the guards or some other hypothesis of what happened to the body. Resurrection didn't really happen. Or we can trust the voice of women. What explains the life of the early church better than the resurrection? Listen to me for a moment. Resurrection claims that there is a new kingdom and a new humanity that is breaking in. You realize that Luke's gospel actually says that the disciples, they didn't believe the story at first. The women tell them, and the disciples don't actually believe it at first. That's horrible PR if you're trying to make up a religion. Like, anyone on a marketing team would say, you don't write that into the story unless maybe it's true. The news was so hard to believe that they didn't believe it at first. But examine with me for a moment. This is a patriarchal society. This is a society both in the Roman world and in the Jewish world where the testimony of women did not even hold up in the court of law. Yet, all four gospel writers choose to show that the women were the first at the empty tomb. Women are the ones who stay and endure the shame of Jesus' death. Women are the ones who wait and watch Jesus' burial. Women are the ones to whom God sends an angel. Women are the first to come and see the empty tomb. Women are the first to see Jesus resurrected from the dead. Women are the first missionaries, evangelists, and preachers. Jesus' inbreaking kingdom, it differed from the kingdoms of this world because it valued the voice of women in a society that didn't, even at the risk of it not being heard. The whole linchpin of the gospel is the resurrection, and it's entrusted to the voices of women. In her work, Confronting Christianity, Rebecca McLaughlin notes that the early church was majority female. Yale professor Stephen Carter points out that today, around the globe, the most people likely to be Christians are women of color. So for a second, if you think you're attacking a white man's religion, you are so twisted and backwards. That's right. Women of color, more likely around the globe to be followers of Jesus. The resurrection explains why the church would become this new sort of people, this new sort of humanity. Just think about the conversions of people who were actually enemies of Jesus, like Paul. What else explains it but the resurrected Jesus? Think about the weekly gathering for Jews to move to what we now call the Lord's Day. Think about the worship of Jesus for a group of people who are monotheists, who would not ever worship another human unless all of a sudden they began to see He's God. What explains the self-sacrifice, the hospitality, the generosity, the eating of meals, or a new family that crossed social, economic, sex, age, cultural, and ethnic divides? The resurrection of Jesus did. Because the resurrection says there's a new humanity, a new kingdom. It's breaking in, and it's happening now. And so let's start the party off. Can you see what's going on? Nothing explains the lives of early Jesus followers better than the resurrection. But friends, nothing explains their deaths better than the resurrection. Let me say that one more time. Nothing better explains the deaths of early followers of Jesus better than the resurrection. See, people, they may live for a lie. You might live for a lie that you created, but you won't die for one you created, especially not the way they died. Being dragged out of your homes, families ripped apart. You know, the stories go that some of the disciples were grabbed by each limb, tied to 4 different horses, and ripped apart, boiled alive. Some thousands of Christians were crucified or lit as human torches to light the city. They were fed to wild beasts, eaten by lions and animals. Yet they met all their suffering with singing. Why? They saw the resurrected Jesus. The only thing that explains the death is their deaths is the resurrected Jesus. I'm here to argue and to propose that resurrection is a deeply intelligent position to take. It's a very intelligent way to look at all the facts. And it has been taken by a deeply diverse group of women and men all over the world for 2,000 years. So Matthew leaves you and I with two different proclamations. There's two kingdoms, there's two stories, either empire or kingdom. He's dead or he's alive. Everything's the same or new creation has begun. Both decisions require trust. And so my question to you is, what story will you trust your life